Alright, so One Piece chapter 1025 just came out, and this was a pretty good chapter. We're setting up a lot of the final confrontations now so that we can get into some big moments, but this chapter on its own was still pretty good. So starting with Dragon Momo, who I love the design of, by the way, even though it is basically Kaido. Momo still is afraid of heights, which I think is a good thing, because one of my fears for adult Momo was that he was just gonna skip all his character development and he was just gonna not be afraid, but no. Adult Momo is still Kid Momo at heart, and he's so scared of heights that he can't even lift his head too far off the ground, which I think is very good. I'm glad that we're not just rushing all his development. And moving on to Yamato versus Kaido, we're getting more backstory with Yamato, like a tiny little bit where we see that someone was executed trying to get Yamato food. So it's really sad that Yamato has had trouble making these friends because, you know, as Kaido's child, people are executed for trying to get close to them. So it feels like the reason that Yamato, you know, idolizes Oden is because Oden is the opposite of what Yamato is. Oden is someone that everyone adores and loves and wants to be close to, but Yamato believes that because of their blood, because they are the child of Kaido, that people are just going to turn away from them. So it's cool that this, you know, desire to be Oden is more so to have what Oden had, to have those connections, which I think is really, really good. So I'm looking at this Mirror Mountain attack, which I originally thought was Yamato creating some kind of clone, but actually it appears to be some kind of ice armor, because if you look at the page where Yamato is shattering, you can still see that it's actually just armor or ice coming off of Yamato. So that's kind of cool, and I'm glad that Yamato has ice abilities as opposed to just like another character with fire abilities, because ice feels like a little bit more of a unique ability in the series so far. And Kaido is really trying to hammer home that Yamato just can't escape their bloodline, that, you know, they are just doomed to be alone, to be outcast by everyone, and I think that that's kind of cool. I'm glad that Kaido is playing into that insecurity of Yamato. So I'm very curious to see how Yamato, Momo, and Luffy are all going to develop in this fight, because they all have arcs that very directly tie to Kaido and how they have been shaped by him. So Luffy has obviously, you know, been going through a lot of development in terms of their different paths of being a captain. You know, Kaido breaks the spirits of others, but Luffy is someone who encourages others and helps them to get their wills and spirits back. Yamato hates the fact that they are connected to Kaido and is trying to separate themselves as much as possible by denying their own blood, and even in a sense who they are, by not calling themselves Yamato, but Oden. And Momo, of course, you know, as a dragon, has to effectively learn from Kaido, and that's another thing. Momo has just awakened his devil fruit, like his adult form. So how much control he's actually going to have over his devil fruit abilities is something that's going to be interesting, because I don't know how helpful Momo's actually going to be, but I'm very, very, very excited to see Momo's hybrid form. But yes, Momo has had so much fear of Kaido this whole time, and I'm very curious to see how he's going to start to overcome his fears, how he's going to, you know, match Kaido and become the Shogun that Wano needs. Alright, so finally we have Luffy just kind of going into Snake Man for just an instant, and I really like that he can just switch between his gears whenever he wants. It's a very cool ability. It's not basically just he's in one form and he's stuck in it forever and he has to wait. No, it's basically he can just switch between these forms whenever he wants now, and I think that that's really, really cool because it shows his progression in his mastery of his gears. So I'm very, very curious to see what other new abilities he's going to develop, and I'm very excited to see Advanced Conqueror's Haki combined with these gears and what new possibilities they're going to create. So that is all for this week's chapter, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks, because we have break this week, for another One Piece chapter.